This is the tutorial for our Kumihimo bracelet kit. We're going to show you how to get started, and we're going to demonstrate one of the easiest patterns in the booklet that will get you started and will show you the technique and the concepts that are used to then go on to some of the more complicated. But to be honest, none of them are complicated. They're all pretty easy. So you've got your Kumihimo braiding ring, and then you've got your booklet full of instructions. You've got all your threads, and you can just choose any of those. I've chosen this candy stripe design, which is one of the easiest ones. So first off, you're going to need to cut your lengths of thread. You need between 50 to 60 centimeters, and this design uses 8 yellow and 8 green. So when I have all my threads, I'm just going to tie a knot in one of the ends. So I'm going to tie them all together, and then that goes through the middle of your braiding ring. And then from this point, we're going to start to lay out our threads in the right order. Now, lots of people get hung up on the numbers on the braiding ring, but actually you don't really need those numbers. So we put the numbers in so it's easiest for us to communicate how to lay out a pattern. But actually the important thing is the laying out of the colours and the placement of the colours. So this is going to create your pattern. It's what order all of your threads are in. The other thing is all of your threads are going to be in pairs. So each pair is made up of 2 top and 2 bottom threads, and they will always be in those pairs. So you need to bear that in mind when I'm teaching you this concept. So now we start to braid, and the basic move is you bring the top right thread down to its bottom pair, and you put it at the right of that bottom pair. Then you take the bottom left thread up and to the left of the remaining strand, and then you're always turning anti-clockwise. The arrows tell you on the braiding disc where to go, and then I've just done that movement again, and then I'm going to turn it anti-clockwise, and I'm going to bring the top right down to the bottom right, and I'm going to take the bottom left up to the top left, and that is it. If you have the threads laid out in the correct order, repeating this movement will create the pattern of your braid. The key thing is to remember that if you lose your place and you start moving threads out of sequence, then the pattern will be disrupted. So you have to remember where you stop braiding. And if you find yourself getting a bit tired or sleepy, I would suggest stopping and, like I'm doing here, leaving 3 threads at the bottom and 1 at the top. That way you're going to know when you come back where to start, because you're going to do that bottom one up to the top. And that is literally it. That is the technique, and that is how you do all of these Kumihimo bracelets. The difficulty is when you get more threads on your braiding ring, so that it is harder to tell where your pairs are. That's the only way it gets difficult, but it's still super easy, and you will just get this kind of muscle memory as to the movement that you're making, and you will, honestly, once you get the whole hang of this, you will fly. So even I've done 5 minutes of braiding there, and I'm starting to see the pattern coming through. So occasionally pull through your threads to keep them from getting tangled, but that is the technique. There's a little measuring guide on the back to show you how long you might want to make your bracelet based on the average wrist size. But those are the basic techniques you need to make all of these gorgeous bracelets. Just remember, once you've used the numbers to lay out your threads, ignore the numbers. The numbers don't matter. It is all about the pairs of threads, keeping an eye on your pairs and making sure you don't get distracted and lose your place in the pattern.